Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of Breauxkin Theory. Today we got the homie Benji. What's good, bro?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. How you doing, bro?
Blessed, man. Highly favored, man. I really want to appreciate you,
Always.
man, for taking some time out to speak with us. Very busy, very much success, man. Super proud of you, man. You got a lot of things going on, man. I just wanted to ask you, man, how did this music journey start with you?
I mean, I guess for my own personal music, I was watching my brother do a lot. He's a highly successful producer, DJ, and we come from a musical family, so it was just we were kind of just always surrounded by it.
Yeah.
For the most part, he was the one that kind of took it a step further into like production and songwriting and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
I was the musician of the family for the most part, and I like creating music as well, especially with instrumentals. And I wanted to dive into it, but kind of do it my way,
Gotcha.
in a sense.
So you picked
so
up.
I was around like 16 or so. What did I say?
No, I was saying, so you picked up instruments first before you started making like complete songs and things like that.
I was a drummer since
wow.
I was like 4. I want to say that was
Okay.
the first thing I picked up, and then I moved towards bass guitar. I want to say around like my early 20s, but I literally just pick stuff up and start playing. Like,
Word.
That's just kind of what I do.
So did you have
I
any?
got a few under my belt.
Did you have any like formal training or anything like that, or it was just like kind of
Nah.
like hanging out with the family and like you said, everybody's into music, so like you just
Yeah,
naturally
just-
gravitated towards it?
Yeah, just like playing in church. Like my parents are pastors, so like it was kind of just easy to just slide on in.
Yeah.
And just like fooling around on the drums. And then I started playing in the choir. We had there were some Sundays there was nobody on the keys, so I would just hop on the keys and start playing, and then it started working out there. Oregon, same thing. Then we needed a bassist. I had a bass guitar at the crib, so I was like, well, I'll just play bass now. And,
Yeah.
Bass
It's
kind
so
of stuck a
beautiful,
lot
man.
more.
It's beautiful when situations, you know what I'm saying, like your parents being in the church, like not having to do anything really with music, but like it created the environment for you to be able to like honestly try whatever you liked, and you know what I mean, like
Literally.
kind of gravitate towards like your weapon of choice, you know what I'm saying? So like that's
Yeah.
amazing, man.
Yeah.
Is bass your favorite instrument?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say.
It sounds like it might be
so.
close with something else.
I always appreciate, because I started on drums. I always
Okay.
appreciate great drummers, good pockets. But the drum and bass relationship, is to me is second to none.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the foundation and the backbone of every song we all love.
For sure.
So I think it made sense for me to kind of just jump from one to the other in that aspect. But I think on one end, bass has brought me more success within the industry. And I've been able to tour on bass a few times. So it's definitely stuck out, but I think just learning more of the harmony of music through playing bass has like allowed me to stretch my musicianship and my songwriting ability out. So I probably give the edge to bass guitar over everything.
Word. So I'm curious, man. With you playing the bass and everything like that, when you're writing a song, do you write with like rhythm? Do you write in chords? Do you write in the feeling, memory? Like what are your like first thoughts when you're like, I'm gonna be creative, I'm gonna do something? Is it like, walk me through it?
Yeah, like lately, when I first started writing music, it was like gotta be lyrics first, right? Like gotta find the words, gotta find the right rhythmic pocket, and I can build the music around it. It's been the complete opposite, I'd say, the last few years. I think it's been easier for me to like lay the musical foundation in the bed first before I start writing words, because then melodies will start to come into my head, and then after there's a strong melody, then I could just kind of plug in some words, some syllables that kind of makes sense after that. So like, and the funny thing is, like, being able to play bass, the way that I play, there's like kind of a rhythm to it. So then it actually helps formulate like the drum pattern that I want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I completely understand.
With the bass line, it's like, then I can kind of hear what chords can go with that and go on top of that, and whatnot, which then helps form the melody for me, and then I can go words from there. So lately it's been more music first than anything. And I'll even sit with that for a few days. Just give it some time, play it on I'll go on a walk or whatever, play it, and just to kind of like get some cityscapes going on in my head, just to kind of like feel out what I might want to say or what I might want to do going forward or whatnot, or does it even sound good while you're going on a walk, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
test it for real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
you live to
exactly. Exactly. But it's been a lot more music heavy first. Then the words just naturally come after that.
Yeah. Okay. So, what would you say is the biggest misconception about playing the bass?
Biggest misconception.
It doesn't have to be anything like super major. You know what I mean? It could just be like something that blew your mind.
I think the greatest thing that I've learned, I will say, is less is more.
Wow.
Right? Like, I remember when I started playing and I was like doing all this learning, and I'm watching all these bass players play all these crazy notes and riffs and, taking up a lot of space with like all these notes and patterns and stuff. And then after a while, it's like, yo, this is kind of like messy. Like, it's taken away from other instruments. Like, I don't need to play all of this. I just need to glue it together. Yeah,
because so, in the wrong context, like if somebody just walks in the room and hears the bass going off crazy, like it might throw them off. They may be like, "What the hell is this?" You know what I mean? But what you saying, less is more. Kind of dive deep into that and just kind of say how like you choose to arrange it with that being learned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like I would say Earth, Wind, and Fire is probably the greatest example of this because there's so many parts, but all of those parts do their job, and that's it. They just do their job, and they do their job very, very well, so that everyone else can do their job. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, no piece is greater than the whole, right? Like, but the sum of its parts is what makes it up and what makes it great. So like when it comes to bass, and bass to me is like the glue of all harmonics and rhythm within a song. So it's like, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to overstep your bounds. You just want to make sure that you bring it all together. So if that's just you playing one note the whole time, but it allows everyone else to dance around and it makes sense, do that. If there's enough space to where like nothing's really going on and the bass can move around a little bit, then do that. You take your space when it's given to you. You don't take others' space. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter how much EQing you do. It don't matter how much mixing or whatever you do. It's like, if this is doing too much, it ruins everything. Yeah. But if it just does what needs to be done, then it allows everything else to kind of, shine in their respective light.
Nah, for sure. And that definitely, like sometimes when I'm making beats, I try to like, I don't know if it's because I'm not a bass player. Obviously it is, but I try to keep like the bass on the one and just like have the bass start automatically. And as far as rhythm, man, like it doesn't always have to be like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like always on the one, you can have it come in like you said, where the space is given in the instrumentation. So like that blew my mind, man. I appreciate that gem, man, for real.
Of course.
As an artist, how do you feel like you found your sound?
Oh, a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error.
You mentioned that you were watching videos of bass. What were some of the tutorials and channels and stuff like that like were helping you?
There's this bassist, Derek Bennett, who does a lot of like lessons, short lessons and stuff. And and I was watching him a lot. Scott Divine's another one where he just give out a bunch of gems. And then a lot of it, I was really just trying to copy, like people playing covers, and really just jamming over like other songs and just trying to get a feel for it. At first, it was like, okay, how does this guy play this lick? So I was learning a lot of licks versus like learning and deconstructing like the bass and how it's shaped, how it's formed, tuned, and stuff like that. And then over time, I started going backwards and really just doing my scales, my patterns and stuff like that, but just more like rhythmic things. And so that's kind of where I started really finding my sound, because I was just allowing my fingers to move, and I was doing some technical work, and then I would just let my fingers go, and then it's like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, that sounded really cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I would practice that. And so similar to like songwriting and artistry, and it's just like, you have what naturally comes out, and then you hear other music, right? And you're like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. And then you try to mimic it to see if you could do it. And then you find out, okay, maybe not all the way there, but there's some middle ground here that I'm capable of doing and that I like. And then the rest of it, I can just appreciate that someone else is able to do it.
For sure. I think that's like one of the biggest things about music in general, and just creativity. You know what I'm saying? Like not being scared to just be like, hey, Benji came out with a dope track. I'm going to play that shit on the bass. Not because I want to be Benji, but because I think it's a dope track. And then just playing it and just letting your mind just go to somewhere else off of that. Not to try to like mimic and recreate your moment that you already have, you know what I mean, but just to like explore, man, and just see what the potential is. You could have made an R&B record, and now I'm making boom bap with that same type of chord that I was practicing, you know what I mean? So it's like, you never know what the next person is gonna hear, and that's how the universe goes, man. One hand washes the other, both hands wash the face, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's my
good.
favorite saying, man.
That's good. I like that.
Yes, sir. How do you decide when a piece of music is ready to be shared with the world? Is there like a process? Do you run it by anybody to get some opinions? Like, what's the process like, man?
That's the hardest part, because I hate the term perfectionist, because that's what I am. Yeah. And so, not to say that I hate myself, but it just makes releasing music very hard.
Yeah, it's super hard.
Because like, you just don't know when it's done, right? Like, if you sit with it too long, it becomes stale. You might lose the emotion or the feeling into it. Put it out too early without like really running it by anybody or giving it some extra time, you might have like undercooked it. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's the hardest part for me. I sit with it for a while, then I don't listen to it at all for like weeks, months, whatever. Because as a producer, as an artist, like, you're the one that hears it a million times, over and over again. So in your head, ear fatigue is a real thing. Yep. And so I'll slide it, to my brother, to my friends, I don't want to say regular people, but people who aren't musicians or producers or whatever. Yeah. Just to kind of like give it that test, in a sense. Like, how does this make you feel? How do you feel about this? Like, you don't have to get technical with it, but it's just, how does this make you feel? Do you like it? Do you not like it? So now in a situation like that, to where like, let's just say you've been working on one song for a year, let's just say. Yeah. And then you send it to one of your people to test it out, and you're attached to this song, and they give you some feedback that you don't like. Where do you go from there? Are you gonna still, are you gonna take their advice with them not making music? Or are you gonna, cut out whatever they said they don't like? Like, what is the process like for you? For me, I mean, I think all critique is good critique, right? I think you have to know how to weed out, good advice and bad advice, but also like, what can you take from it to help make it better, or do what you're doing differently? And then the others, because at the end of the day, like, it's whether you like it or not, as the artist, as the person putting it out, like, everybody can have an opinion. And we've seen songs where like the label said like, no, this is the single, and it flopped.
Yep.
But this deep cut on the project became the hottest thing on the album.
Yep.
And then like we've also seen, you know, the artists say like, I didn't even really like that song, and it's been number one on the Billboard chart for like 30 something weeks. Like we've seen it time and time again. So it's like, you know, really going with your gut. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Going with your gut, because that's like your second brain, but also like, you know, having discernment enough to allow and appreciate critique, advice and whatnot, and then being able to decipher, okay, what is nourishment and what is like cut the extra fat. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Okay, we don't really have to do that, because at the end of the day, like, it came from my brain, and I know what I'm trying to do is to do what I want to do. And if it's not, then I'm not going to listen to it. If it is, then I'll gladly take it and do what needs to be done.
For sure. I think the biggest thing too with criticism, man, is just like, as far as reference, like being able to see the filter in the eyes that the person that you're asking is looking through. So like them not having any musical taste, them not even listening to hip hop per se. Let's just use that as an example. They may not understand certain things that you're putting together and certain nuances and references and things like that. So, you know, again, like you said, taking everything with a grain of salt. How important is faith to you, bro?
Very important. I think that's one of the main things and reasons why I'm still making music. Just because, like, at first, you know, early in my career when I signed, it was like a whole new world. All the unknowns were just starting to, like, you know, come out and come about, and I didn't really know too much. And that's the dangerous thing, is not knowing what you don't know.
Yeah. You care to share any of those things? Like,
yeah, I think, you know, you hear it a lot, like, you don't really know the business in that aspect, right? Like, you don't really understand publishing at first. You don't really understand, like, where the money comes from. You don't really understand, like, how marketing even works as well. Like, you know, I think for a lot of us, and this is back in 2019 when I signed, like, at that time, the internet was different. Social media was different. And a lot of people were getting lucky, but we were trying stuff, right? And it's just one of those things where, like, you can here's a lot of stories where artists will get into deals, or get into situations, get into the industry, and like lose themselves. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because they have expectations that they're really not aware of, or like really understanding how it all works. So they have expectations that don't necessarily make sense, and then you have what you really wanted to do all along, and they kind of like fight each other, and that goes on for years. And mind you, right after I signed, I went on tour, and when I got off tour, COVID hit, so it just shut it all down. Man. You know what I'm saying? So like, now we're really in a kind of just like a tornado effect of like, okay, what's even going on here?
Yeah. What were some of the feelings that you were feeling, like, going through that, just signing a deal and then COVID happening? Like, that's some traumatic stuff right there, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I remember when I signed, I thought it was, you know, the life-changing thing. And it, you know, wasn't for a lot of money, but it was just like the next step, right? Like the next phase into my career.
People that will take things to the next level. I mean,
right.
Everybody's got to do it, man.
Yeah, you know, and I don't regret it. I think it was none of us could control what COVID eventually ended up being. Nobody had any idea that was coming down the pipeline. You know, so I don't regret it at all. I think ultimately, like, since then, it's allowed me like the time and space to really think, and like, you know, try more stuff, right? Like, I put out an album when I signed, went on the road with EarthGang, and then joined Spillville, and then, you know, COVID hits. But like, it allowed me this other side of what I'm capable of doing. So like being able to join a group like Spillage Village with Jid and EarthGang and Mariba and Black and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I didn't know I was even that dope. You know what I mean? To be like involved with these kinds of people, these great artists and stuff. And it's like, okay, cool. And that's really when I started diving more into like production and songwriting. But it's like, okay, well, I can, while I'm trying to figure myself out and what the heck I'm gonna do, I can help write songs for others, or I can help be a part of other people's journeys and projects and stuff like that. And that's been, you know, very fruitful for me in that regard, while I've been able to try and figure out what exactly I want to do. Yeah. And I ain't gonna lie, like, it was disheartening because, like, you know, there were some things and festivals that I was scheduled for that all got canceled and never saw them again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, and on one hand, you think, man, I was like, it's like I should be further than what I am or what I thought I would be right now, and then on the other hand, it's like, because of faith, it's like, no, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
And the moment of clarity that you came to is exactly why what went down had to go down. Exactly. And ultimately, because of my faith and how I believe what I believe in, you know, I've been able to keep going and keep trying and keep putting out music and keep learning from those lessons and those L's and take the wins where they are and so on and so forth. And then ultimately, like, you know, be able to share those stories and those things with other people, other aspiring artists, producers, musicians, whatever, just regular people, so that they can find that within themselves too.
Absolutely. Was there ever a breaking point to where you felt like, you know, you're at your worst, you can't turn it around, and how did God get you through that?
Man, I feel like it happens like once a year, to be honest.
I feel it, man.
Because there just comes a moment, and especially like you see how the world is going, right? Like, you see how everything has changed since COVID. You see where things are kind of headed. You see what the industry is doing right now, and then you're like, how the heck is this even gonna work? Yeah, you know, like that happens like once, twice a year. And then ultimately it's like, it works because you work, and it works because you want it to work. And it doesn't work because you want it to look like how it's been working for everybody else. Like, I think what God was showing me was like, it's you, bro. Like, you. Whatever you want to do, you can do it, but you have to do it. You don't have to be and do it like him or her or people who are out of reach. You have an entire community around you laterally, and you have all the skills and the skill set to do exactly what you want to do, and the capability to learn what you need to learn to do what you want to do. But he's just like, it's you. And that's what I've been listening to lately. It's just like, okay, maybe it is me. Maybe because of how everything is changing out and you know, being manipulated these days, it's better suited for the individual versus, like, I don't want to say the team, but let's say independent artists versus signed to major label artists, right? Sure. Like there's everyone that has a sense of independence, even people who are signed, like, to be able to find more success rather than having to rely and lean on the machine. So that's what I've been learning lately.
Nah, definitely. I definitely appreciate that, man. Once you literally get that relationship with God, right, everything else start falling into place. And you know, it's being able to do his work is something completely different, because whether you realize it or not, he's working through you. You know what I'm saying? Like, your testimony, your life story, the things that you've been through, the words that you're saying in your music are all a reflection of him and like the things that he do through you. You know what I mean? So it's like you taking that leap of faith and just trusting yourself also in turn gives the people that really look up to you that same type of courage in their stomach. They're like, man, Benji did that. I got to do it too, because Benji did it. And look what happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, Man, you always got to trust yourself. And then once you do it, it's like you can't undo it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't not trust yourself no more. You always got that feeling in your gut like, I got to do this. I got to follow through.
Straight up.
But yeah, man, let's talk about Smile, You're Alive.
Word.
Tell me a little bit about that project, where you were at as an artist, and any stories that you got.
Shoot. So I made that album. Originally, I made that album in 2018, or dropped that album in 2018. I was a local artist in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the time, is where I'm from. And that project came about because there was I had a pretty strong battle with like depression. And was getting deep into some drugs I shouldn't have got into, and there's kind of just some surrounding issues that I didn't necessarily thought I would be able to make it through. And then there was it's actually one of the stories on the album is I almost fathered a child that wasn't mine, and so. The whole DNA test and everything, test was negative on my end, and it was just like, damn, okay. Did I dodge a bullet, or is this like something that I need to be like weary of, or like what's really happening? So there's a lot of shit going on back then. I was like 24 at the time, 24, 25. And was pretty reckless, I would say. And so that album was just starting to like matriculate on its own. A lot of the themes that were being written about were just like, just appreciating where you're at, appreciating the time that you spent, time that you have, and the opportunities you have to keep going and going forward. And it was all from a very genuine place. I think in hindsight, I think I could have executed some of those songs a little better, but that's just, my technical analysis on everything. But it was from a real genuine place of just like hurt, pain, but hope as well. And I think that's kind of been like my general just like theme, I guess, as an artist is like, being inspired by hope through pain and struggle. Because there's ultimately always a way forward, if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Yeah. And, that was the project that got me national recognition. I was on NPR's Artist to Watch after that. I played 6 cities on my own. It got me signed, went on the road, all the kind of stuff. And it showed me that like authenticity wins every single time.
What do you feel like about that project kind of took things to the next level? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut your wisdom, bro.
No, you're good. I think
I just was genuinely curious if that, like, in hindsight, you ever looked back and was like, what particularly made this do that? You know what I'm saying?
I honestly think, because I've been thinking about this lately, actually, as I'm working on this next project, was like, and I've been thinking about the past 3 EPs that I dropped, and I'm kind of wondering why they didn't do as well as I had hoped. And I go down the whole rabbit hole of like, oh, maybe it was their fault. Maybe it was their fault. It's like, nah. It's going back to God being like, hey, it's you. I think in that project, it was 100% authentically me, right? Like from the different genres that I was trying out on that project to the lyrics to the melodies, the things that I was just trying were just naturally things that I wanted to try, that I wanted to do, that I wanted to speak about. I didn't have any, pretense. There was no pressure for me and pretense to like put myself out there, be vulnerable in that regard, and really like speak my truth in that regard, right? Because ultimately that's, I think, how it connected to a lot of people who really resonated with that project, because they saw themselves in that project, just like how I saw myself, through the writing of those songs. And I think, especially in my hometown, like there wasn't anybody really making music that way. And so Pittsburgh is a small city. And so like, I think the closest the closest comparison you could say, I guess, from my hometown would be like Mac Miller, you know, and just like the different various styles that he would like write. And I've been close with his people for a minute, so it kind of makes sense. But like somebody like me in a city like Pittsburgh is really like a 101. And that's no knock to any of the other artists that I still, you know, love to this day. I'm still friends with and stuff like that. Like that's just what it was. Sure. But also it was able to resonate past and beyond the city itself. Once it started like gaining some traction, and I honestly think it was just an authentic body of work that people found at a time, I guess, when they needed it. And I didn't kind of set it out that way, where like, you know, everyone's gonna love this because they need to hear something like this. It was just me like, I need to get this off my chest. And I think ultimately God did the rest after that.
Absolutely. You know somebody named Chris Dreamer?
Yes. Tell me.
Okay, he was on the show too, man. You said Pittsburgh, so you know, I know he went to school with Mac Miller and stuff like that too. So you know, I didn't know if y'all crossed paths and made music at some point.
We haven't made music yet, but we've corresponded a few times. But that's a good dude. That's a really good guy. He's having a great year right now.
Yeah, he's doing some great things, man. Shout out Chris Dreamer, man.
Definitely.
But I definitely wanted to just, you know, bring this by you, man, because like as an artist, I feel like we could beat ourselves up when a project doesn't really like perform the way we intend it to or perceive it, or you know, whatever. You know, when you're putting out a new body of work, man, you know, you're excited about it, but necessarily the whole world may not receive it the same way, because back to what we said, the references and things like that. And you know, I just look back and I just say Yeezus, you know, Cherry Bomb with Tyler, things like that, like 10 years later, they finally get it. They finally going back and they're like, oh, I love this. This is my favorite album, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, when you're ahead of your time, man, you know, you're not always going to get exactly the recognition that you want and stuff like that. But, you know, your core fan base, I guarantee you, they had a whole bunch of cuts out of them albums, man, for sure. I guarantee you. No, I'm just being dead ass serious, man. Like every project serves a purpose, whether it be you got the same people as the last time as the drop for Smile You're Alive, or you got a new audience. You know what I'm saying? It still served a purpose. There's people that enjoy that work. So definitely. I just want to ask you, man, like, as far as your creativity and things like that, what do you do whenever you're in a spell of like creative block?
Ooh, I get away from it completely. Like, I go on long walks. I live in LA now. I go on long walks, man. Like, shoot, I ain't gonna lie, I do like 10 miles a day. Like, I be going on long walks. But I listen to podcasts. It's really a time for me to like, okay, maybe I'm like spent, like creatively, maybe I'm spent like with what I had. So now I need to go fill myself back up with like other things.
That's a real thing, man.
Listen to it is. And I
whether you realize that you're taking from the world, like always, whether you're looking in a direction, reading something, whatever, you're ingesting all of that. So I think it's really important, 100%. Especially as artists, man. You know, we could be in our head a lot to where it's like we have to remember and at least remind ourselves to fill ourselves back up. You know what I'm saying? With something positive, whether 100%. It be like, you know, a scripture, a sermon, whatever. You know what I mean? But go ahead, man. Didn't mean to cut your wisdom, bro.
Yeah. No problem. But 100%, like I need to, you know, fill myself back up with other things, whether it's new things or things that I usually do in my spare time anyway. So like new podcasts, new people to listen to, new wisdom, right? TV shows, because, you know, specifically like good TV shows got good music on it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always like a couple songs that catch your ear that like,
how come I don't have a song like this?
I like that. You know, exactly. Exactly.
I'm gonna make a song about a taxi cab.
Exactly. So like I'll watch TV. I'm big into golf. I golf a lot. So it's just nice to get outside and do those things.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, man, I get away from music as much as I can. Live life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's very important for an artist to live.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And be around people, be around other things, your other surroundings, and just be outside, be amongst the world, right? Go hiking, go to the park, go buy some water. You know, just other things that can naturally just fill your body up, fill your mind and spirit up. And then it's like clockwork. The next time you really try to go sit and create, or it'll be a random time where just something clicks in your mind, like, oh, snap.
So what do you feel like was the most challenging project that you've ever worked on?
Oh, the next one?
Yeah.
I think, like, each one presents its difficulties, right?
Are you talking about your solo project, or are you talking about like the next group project?
I think really like my solo projects. Okay. But like also even the Spillage Village projects, like they all present their own challenges and stuff. You know, like the last few solo projects I did, the last few EPs I did, like the space that they were coming from was difficult, because I think that was basically right around the time where I was like, I didn't really know who I was, like what I was trying to do, or what I was really doing. Was it working? Was this the right thing to do? Like I was kind of just a little far, I say, from the path. I'll say it like that.
When you say this, you're talking about like the artistry or like playing instruments, or
the artistry.
Okay.
I think the artistry more than anything. That was pretty difficult, because you just obviously you want to make the team happy. You want to put out good music, and it's not like the music that I put out was bad. But when it's not really from the source, you know what I'm saying? And like when it's not really as authentic as it possibly could be, whether it's good music or not, I don't think it works as well as it can.
Nah, definitely not. Because you're not in it all the way.
That's really like, exactly, right? Like you're not in it all the way. You're not really bought in as well as you could. And I'm not one of those like super controlling, like everything has to be like this kind of artist. I do like to take my time to figure out exactly like what it is that I want to do, and then we can kind of go from there. I wouldn't call myself a creative director by any means. I think that's a gift that very few artists actually have. Yeah. But I think that's all a part of like artist development too. And similar to like what we were talking about earlier, like you never know until you try. So it's not like I think everything that we did the past few projects were all bad. I think I learned a lot about myself that like I can take with me going forward. But I do know that a lot of it, I think in the negative space, really stemmed from it not really being like my true self within it. And so that created a lot of difficulties just with me personally. Makes it hard to promote the music, right? It makes it hard to like really like stand on it. It makes it hard to talk about it. It's kind of one of those things where I'm like, I kind of just try to avoid it.
I feel it, man. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's an experience that we all learn from. And, we all have those moments to where it's like, we don't authentically feel like ourselves, maybe because of the things that are going on around us. But you gotta remember to give yourself some grace, you know what I'm saying? And just be gentle with yourself,
very
man.
Much so.
You only get one life, and whether the choices that you made, you consider them mistakes or not, you know what I'm saying? God don't make no mistakes. So that lesson served the purpose for sure. whether you get it or not,
Sure
until
did.
maybe now or 10 years from now, you know, it's on you. You know what I'm saying? But nah, they definitely ain't no mistakes though, for sure. What would you say is your favorite part of the creative process, and why does it stand out to you?
I think I think when it comes to producing, I think finding like the next thing that works. I don't know if I'm describing it correctly, but I'm sure you understand.
Yeah, definitely.
Like finding the next piece to the puzzle and putting it in its place. I really love that part, and it's a very small amount of time when it happens. It's like it clicks, and then you put it where it needs to go. But then like it just makes like the rest of it feel so much better.
Oh yeah.
But that tiny little like piece.
Once you get that piece added, man, you in that mode. You get in that mode, and then everything from there, it's like curry at the 3, bro. You just start throwing them joints up, bro.
Start letting it all fly.
Court shots and everything like that. I'm gonna make a rock song today, man. Like I can't miss. I can't miss.
Exactly.
Nah, man.
I love that about producing. When it comes to writing, I think it's like it's difficult trying to find the right words. Once you do though, and you start to like record it and find like the voicings for everything, like I really love that part too. I love writing with other people.
I was just about to ask, is that something that you do?
Yeah, like I love writing with other people, whether it's for like someone else's work. Like I was just at a songwriting camp a couple weeks ago for this other artist working on his album. I love working with other writers because it's just like we're all spitballing in a way, but you're getting like different perspectives of the same like theme.
Oh yeah.
So like you might want to say it like this, or you have an idea of saying it like that, and then we all like try to find some common ground or meet in the middle of the way.
Oh yeah.
So I love collaboration. That's like the greatest form of creating music, in my opinion.
For sure.
When you do
those writing camps, sorry, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, man, but when you do those writing camps, have you ever had a situation to where it just got like messy, like too many hands in the pot?
Yeah, but also like I guess I'm fortunate enough to like the camps that I have done. We kind of had this understanding of like, if it's going good, don't touch it. Like, and then there's mad people split in other rooms, so like you got a lot of stuff going on at the same time.
At one time.
So like if I walk into a room and it's filled up, and they got something going, maybe I don't need to be in this room.
Yeah.
Like maybe I can go find another room or another area that like is just starting or could use some extra stuff or whatever or whatnot, whatever the case may be. There was a camp I did in Atlanta a few years ago that just had like way too many people. Like it was absurd, bro. And I'm not really one of those kinds of people.
Yeah.
So I ended up like taking a small little like lounge room, grabbed a couple speakers and an interface, grabbed a couple of the homies, and for the rest of the week we just stayed in that room and wrote out a bunch of songs.
I feel it, man.
And it's just like, sometimes I just, not that I get claustrophobic, but it's kind of just that pretense of like, there's way too many people, so it's going to be a lot of moving hands, essentially, right? It's going to be a lot of like egos or a lot of energy that's unnecessary to the creative process.
I was just about to say, like, that's the biggest thing, man, like the personalities, like especially with a lot of those things in the music industry, man, like ego is the number one like mood killer for me, at least, you know what I'm saying? Because 100%. It's like, like ain't no reason to be full of yourself, bro. Like we all at times feel like we got the golden pen and stuff, but at the same time we all human, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, the end of the goal is to make a great song, make a great beat, you know what I mean? So it's
Right.
Once it becomes stuff more than that, and then, you know, the focus is on other things that sidetrack you, then it's like, bro, you ain't here to work. Just get the fuck out of here. And, you know, that's when I start getting pissed off, bro. Like,
yeah, no, for real, for real. This is like, you know, I don't want to disrupt. I never want to disrupt the flow that somebody else got going on. But like, if you're gonna make it hard for me to even catch a flow, get into a groove or whatever,
get up out of here.
Then it's like, I'm gonna remove myself before I do something stupid.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just unnecessary. I'm trying to, the older I'm getting, I'm trying to remove any unnecessary things, energy, stuff, either before it gets there or if it's there, like, just remove it, you know,
that divine protection
from the spot. Exactly. Because it's just, you know, there's a lot of uncontrollables, but like the things you can control, you bet I'm on it.
Yep.
100%. Like, I'm not trying to do none of the negative stuff.
Man, I'm reading this book, Let Them, the Let Them Theory. That book is golden, man. It just talks about, just like in general, like when people do something, just let them. Like, you know, the author used her son going to prom as an example, and this is what caught me, because I was like, damn, this is kind of a good example. But she was like, basically, he's going to prom with 20 of his friends, and they don't have reservations, and they're just gonna pop up at the restaurant. And she was freaking out, and she's like, well, how do you guys not have reservations on prom night? Da, da, da. And then her daughter was just like, Mom, let them, it's their prom night. And then she said her mind was just like blown, and she had an epiphany, like, yeah, I should let them. You know what I'm saying? And then she watched him dirty his $400 tuxedo sneakers in the rain and was just smiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, man. You should definitely check the book out if you like to read. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna write that one down, actually.
Yeah, the Let Them Theory.
Because that's like. I feel like I kind of do that naturally, for good or for bad. But like, I do allow people to be themselves. Yeah, like fully.
You have to, because you can't control nobody else, man.
And can't control anybody else. But it's also like I'm such a silent observer that like I need to know exactly who you are to then know how I'm going to deal with this or deal with you.
Yep.
Down the road, whether I need to deal with you again, whether it's, you know, managers, collaborators, friends, people, whatever the case may be. It's like I need you to be your fullest self with no constraint, no restraint, nothing. So then I can see exactly who you are, as opposed to like try and like shape and mold it immediately without like, you know, without hesitation. That's interesting. That's gonna be my next book.
Yeah, definitely, man. Really cool. So it's like the Let Them Theory, and then also it's let me. So it's two parts of that, to where it's like, whenever you're in a situation and it's like you're overwhelmed, you know, something that you can't control, you just let them, and then you figure out something that you need to do that you can control, that, you know, will kind of just like take your mind off of it, because you could sit there and obsess about some shit you can't control, bro, and drive yourself crazy. You know.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yep,
that's true.
What do you feel like is a misconception about you as an artist that people get confused?
That I don't care
about what
I think because I've been told this before, or questioned about before by some execs, that if I care about being an artist, like, do I want to be an artist? Do I care about it? And I always find that funny, because like, of course, but that doesn't stop me from being human. One, doesn't stop me from feeling, and it doesn't stop life from happening and lifing and stuff. But like, just because I like to be patient and take my time, and I don't speak often, like I listen way more than I speak, and I observe way more than I speak, because usually after I observe what I observe, I'm back in my room, you know, throwing darts at the wall and putting things together, or thinking, right, like about what I just saw, what do I need to do, you know, conversing and talking with some friends, confidants, or whatever, about what I just saw or how I should go about it. So it's never that I don't care. It's just I'm in the process of observing. And then also too, it's like, yeah, every artist has a problem with like promoting themselves and promoting their music these days and stuff like that. And I can't not call a spade a spade. It's hard for me to promote music that I don't like. It's hard for me to promote, like I was saying before, like, you know, some of my past projects, my recent projects, I don't like them. You know what I mean? And
which one in particular would you say is the most cringe for you?
The most cringe, I want to say, maybe, I think musically, Love Gun 2 is my most cringe. I think visually, Love Gun 1 is my most cringe. I don't know what the hell I was doing.
Hey man, you can't be taking shots at all of these, man. You got to pick one, bro. You can't. This man calling out everything, every flaw in every project he ever did, man.
Bro, I'm really the worst at it. Like I over critique all my stuff. Like I'm the worst.
But I mean, perfectionism, I feel like is an illusion to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with having standards.
Understood.
That's something different than perfectionism. You know what I'm saying? But like the perfectionism, like, is literally like I feel like it's fear in a.
It is
in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, in a way, man, like it's just you want things to be like not looked at by like at a certain way by other people and things like that. You feel like it changes image and you know, I get it. But after a certain point, man, you know, you can't reinvent the wheel, and it becomes like draining. You're already ear fatigued. You're listening to the same song every single day, trying to edit and edits, and then you coming back like, I'm gonna make another edit today, and it's like, oh, it's done. It's ready to go. Like,
exactly.
You taking the magic away, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just hard. It's just hard because, like, you know, I think those are the two projects where I'm like, I've gotten pretty away from myself, you know, uncontrollably. So not that it was reckless, but it definitely just like wasn't me. But I tried, right? Because I didn't know, and this was how everybody on the outside saw what could potentially be possible with me, and I allowed it to happen, right? Like I let it happen. And it informed me on things that I could do, and it informed me on things that I shouldn't do again. So to your point, it's like it's all for a purpose, regardless. Like it's for something.
What were some of those things that you wouldn't do again?
I guess in this case, like, not speak up about like not really wanting to do certain things, or in a way like adding more than 2 cents to the conversation, and not being rushed into something. I will wholeheartedly say that the last 2 projects were rushed, and it was unnecessary. So it didn't need to happen.
Why?
That way.
Why were those rushed?
I think we were just we were at a point where we were trying to get to this next thing, and I think it's not that we didn't bite off more than we could chew, but it was more so like, we need to get this done ASAP so we can drop ASAP and we can
the next thing.
Whereas, and whereas it's like, you know, and time will continue to show you that, like, you never have to rush anything,
never
at all. You never do. Like, so long as it's intentional and you're intentionally building, you can always press the button when you want.
Yep.
But if you're just trying to get something out for the sake of getting it out and, you know, quote unquote, maintaining relevance and staying relevant, and, you know, and think about it, that was literally a year ago from now, right? And I can't say that anything has really changed.
Nah, I feel it, man. I feel it. But you know, one thing that does change all the time, man, is our perspective. And it could be something as simple as, like, you know, you having a conversation with your mother, or it could be something as simple as, like, you not getting the gig that you wanted, or the tour getting canceled, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like put you in a whole nother redirection, whole nother mindset, and you're like, man, well, now I got time to sit here and build a new album, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna take my time and just like let it go. If you could create without any limitations, any budget, no time restrictions, what would you make?
I'd make a short film. I would make a short film literally on this of kind of, I don't want to say like the boy who lost his way, but the artist who is fighting against life and time, you know, and thinking that he's in a fight, versus like, you know, understanding the reality of he's going with life and times, right? I would create a short film. I would produce and score the whole thing myself, and get, I don't know, probably Denzel Washington to play somebody's dad.
That's the only way to go, man.
That's the only way to do it.
Have you ever read The Alchemist?
Yes. I read that in college. That's a great book. That's one of my favorite books. What
you're talking about, like the concept that you were telling me about, it kind of reminds me of The Alchemist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just
it's a journey.
Searching for something that's right where you at the whole time.
Yeah, literally. Like I can't. I'm so glad you actually brought that up, because I can't. It's hard to not feel like that's what's happening with me right now.
Yeah.
Like that moment of clarity. Like you literally phrased it so perfectly. Like the journey to find something that's already where you're at.
Yeah.
Like that's actually. It's crazy the way you phrase that. Like that's
it's just crazy though, man, because it's like, you know, as artists, bro, like we run around in circles like chickens with our head cut off. And it's like we're looking at new things. Oh, I gotta get this new guitar. I gotta get this new program. I gotta do this. Oh, this person came out with something like this. I gotta make a dance hall song. I gotta make some Afrobeat. You know, we're constantly pushing pulled in different ways, to where it's like when again with the time thing that you're talking about, we're not able to take the time and just like, what do I want?
Exactly.
And when you're able to slow things down and just like, especially as an artist, man, when you're able to take a breather and walk and like clear your thoughts and like, you know, refill yourself with some positive information, everything else is effortless. You know, you shouldn't have to feel like you're on a mission 24/7 for something that you don't have, when God already put it inside of you. You know what I'm saying? It's already right where you're at, in the place that you're at right now. You're supposed to be.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I can't wait for you to make it. You gonna make it, bro. You gonna make that short film. You know what I'm saying?
I believe it.
Make it into an album short film. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's funny. Like I've been creating music that way, like a little more cinematic elements, but like, to have that kind of feeling to go along with like the words that I've been writing, but also in the hopes too, because like I do one day want to work on music for a film, and stuff like that. Whether it's just like original music or like actually scoring it, you know. I do want to get into that one day.
Well, shit, I literally do videography, bro. So if you need help putting together a short film, like, if this is a concept that's in the beginning of stages and you know you want to put together an album with a short film, I'm gladly willing to help you out and shoot all that shit for free, bro. I like making art.
Bro. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no
I understand.
Doubt.
I appreciate that.
I like making dope shit, bro. So it's like awesome shit to where it's like, if I could contribute and add value, I'm more than willing, bro.
Yes, sir.
For real.
I appreciate that.
No doubt. What's a dream collaboration that you always wanted, or like you want to maybe one day put in motion?
I think probably the obvious one for me is Thundercat. I've met him a few times. Yeah, I've met him a few times on the road. Very great dude. Obviously an insane musician. But I know that just at any point in time in life, I feel like that would just make sense to me.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Cleo Soul's another one.
She's nice.
bro, she's incredible. I think her and oh man, it's horrible because I shouldn't be forgetting. I shouldn't be forgetting these people.
You got to pull your playlist out, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
I could sing the song.
I think. Yeah. I think on some like Dead or Alive shit, I really wish I was able to work with Mac Miller. Yeah, that would have been really cool. That would have been cool for like the city of Pittsburgh, in my personal opinion, because I do think we have styles that work together very well. So that would have been really cool to materialize. But also I'm just more appreciative that like he existed. So that
definitely.
That was that was always dope to like see that and kind of like aspire to be something similar coming from Pittsburgh. In years past, I would say Kanye West. I don't know if I really say that. I probably wouldn't say that now.
Probably can't say that too loud.
Probably can't say that too loud. Maybe edit that one out.
Man, look, I'm gonna just be real with you, bro. I'm gonna just be real with you. I love Ye as far as a creative, man. I think he is a genius. I feel like
he's a genius.
As far as like innovation wise, like he's definitely the Steve Jobs of the music, for sure.
1000%.
It goes back to the ego thing we was talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in a space I could kind of understand, but I can't at the same time, because like, we know too far is too far. But like, just imagine a space to where everybody betrayed you, you lost your family, nobody, you have nobody to turn to. I could see how it could get dark really fast and easy, especially when you got a whole bunch of yes men around you. But man, God is the greatest. I believe that he's not done with Ye. You know what I'm saying? And he may have backslid away from what he was trying to do. But, the devil is always working, idle hands is always the devil's playground. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at the end of the day, I believe God will deliver Ye. But at the end of the day, what he's doing right now is unacceptable, 100%.
Agreed.
We shouldn't be, especially our legends, man. Our legends shouldn't be preaching hate. We shouldn't be disrespecting people, regardless of the culture. But music is music. And when you're good at music, you feel like that's the only way you can get people to, pay attention. And I don't know, the way the social media came, man, it's like it's all an attention grab now, man. And it's like, it really sucks because the most recent projects he's put out, man, I'm gonna just say, man, like it's just not Ye, like all the way. There's a couple joints in it. There's a couple joints in them. You might find one or two like well put together songs, but it's just not. When your soul is in it, the music is different, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell his soul is not there. He lost his soul. But if you could describe your style in 3 words, what would it be and why?
Timeless, I would say, to start. Because I pull a lot of inspiration from all eras of music and all styles of music. I think one of my greatest strengths is to like be able to take bits and pieces of information to create something, rather than like really try to mimic something specifically outright. But something that helps and is able to expand through time. You can listen to it in the 80s, you'll listen to it in 2030 or whatever the case may be. But just something that like sticks to the soul. So Timeless is one. I would say adventurous is another one. I like to take risks, but also I like my music to go on and feel like a journey. You know what I'm saying? And I like it, at least music that I like when I make it. I gotta give myself a little more credit, but like music that I like when I make it from my soul, from my heart, feels like a journey. Feels like there's a beginning and there's a path, and then at some point we come to an end. So it's pretty adventurous and simple, I think, is the last one I would use. Okay. Like, it's not too complex. I don't think it's too difficult to figure out what this is, how it's made or whatever. Like, I think as long, especially within the industry and trying to like get music out to people, you know, you want it to be easily digestible in a way to where it's nourishing and not too strenuous on the brain. So I don't try to do it in a way where it's like, you know, I'm gonna confuse them, or like you really got to sit with it, all like that. I think you understand it as soon as you hear it. And then you can take your time with it from there if you want to go deeper with it or whatever the case may be.
Digest it, catch the references, and be like, I get what he was going for now. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as if I can get you to make your own decision, I did my job. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I really did my job there. So I would go with those three. Word. What does success mean to you as an artist, and how has that definition changed over time from when you were first beginning and now years later, you're signed, going on tours, working with amazing people?
I think before it was definitely like money based. I think that's how it starts for a lot of people. And these days, man, success to me is like freedom. Freedom to create without limits and bounds, and constraint from like any outside noise. The freedom to feel like yourself when you're creating. The freedom to do what you want. The freedom to buy breakfast or make breakfast if you want to, like, you know, stuff like that.
That's a blessing.
Just being able to, it is, and just to be able to live freely. I think is what success means to me, and that spans beyond my career. That's like for the rest of my life. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's definitely. Of course, I used to want to be like filthy rich off of music, and you know, do the whole stuff, biggest artist in the world. And now it's like you just understand it almost too much to where like. Some of the ignorance you wish you still had is like doesn't even exist anymore, and it's like nah, it's really not it. I seen what money has done to some people, and I don't need those problems. I'd rather just have peace of mind, freedom, joy, and food.
I mean, for me, man, it's like I really enjoy my peace now, to where it's like when I first started, you know, with me, I was a rapper first, and then I was homeless in 2017, and then I was staying in a storage unit, like living there, and turned the storage unit into a studio, and just like, you know what I mean, hustled, got out of it. And for me, man, it was just like, at first I wanted to be like the biggest in all of this stuff, but now that I'm on the back end and like doing like producing and stuff like that, I want to be out the way, bro. I like my space, like, and I'm so glad that it did not happen like that, because that's not who I am. You know, I don't really like to be around a whole bunch of people all the time and just like always move. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really enjoy my peace. So it's like, I'm so thankful that things did not transpire the way I wanted them to when I wanted them to. So I definitely can resonate with it, man, for sure. What would you 100%. Say is one thing that you learned about your art through your music or just creating in general that surprised you?
It translates and it transcends. I've learned that it really does resonate with people, and that there is a community of people who understand me through the music that I create, and there's a community of people who understand the music that I make for themselves. So there are people who are able to take things from it for themselves, and there are people who just appreciate it for what it is and for why I made it. And that's, you know, as an artist, it's like that's kind of all you want, right? You want people to understand. You want people to feel like they get it, and to like it, of course, but you want people to appreciate and understand exactly what you did, whether they know all the details or not, and appreciate for just what it is.
Nah, for sure. Who's the most surprising person that ever reached out about your art? Or maybe most
probably
memorable?
Masego.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, probably Masego. This was like 2020. We had dropped the Spillage Village album, and he DM'd me on IG and was like, "Yo, you're cold. Like, you did some great work on the project." And I was like, "What?
What?"
Like, like that's really tight. Like, I won't call him a peer, but just somebody that I do admire.
Absolutely.
As a musician, as an artist, stuff like that. Like, just out of the blue, be like, yeah. Like he heard something that I did and it was like, no, this is tight.
That's amazing, man.
And I remember when, yeah, it is. And I remember my exec, he had played a song me and my brother did for Pharrell, and Pharrell absolutely loved it. He didn't say it to me personally, but I got the message.
Pharrell is one of them ones, man. Like, he's an alien.
That's somebody
bro.
I really want to work with too.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Like, he's definitely high on my list of collaborators, dream collaborators, for sure.
For sure. If you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing, or give yourself a piece of advice when you were first starting out, what would it be and why?
Definitely relax. But your ideas are and were good enough. So that, like, essentially to tell myself, like, take your time but flesh it out.
Yeah.
I think would definitely be something I would like to tell my younger self.
Definitely.
Be like, trust me, it'll be good. Your ideas make sense and they work. They can work. And don't let anybody tell you different. Yeah, I'd probably say that.
For sure. Well, we're getting ready to get up out of here, man. I just want to ask you though, what's coming next for you? What's in the next chapter? What's on the way?
Two things. I'm working on my next solo album, full-length album. I'm really excited about it because it feels like me. Like, I was kind of hinting at it a lot in this conversation, that I do genuinely feel like myself. Not like I went back to myself, but I've evolved into more of
a greater version.
That I've exactly. So I'm very excited about that. I'm really excited to continue on that work. And then we do have a new Spillage Village album in the works right now, so that's going to be crazy. We got like at least 30 songs in over the last few years that we've been working on, but we're still going to keep adding on to that pot. So who knows, it might even turn into multiple projects. You never know.
But
I'm very excited about that. And yeah, man, just trying to create and collaborate with more people that I can, and just meet more people. So I'm very, very excited to just continue existing and living and creating and, getting these projects out to the world, bro.
Word, man. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you making some time to talk with us, man. Give these jewels down to these upcoming producers, artists, things like that. Sharing your journey.
Yes, sir.
God bless, my brother. We'll be in touch.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate you for having me.
All right, my brother. God bless.
Yes, sir. Bless.